Hi. So I just want to talk to you about something, what's been highlighted to me in terms of, this is an observation of what is happening in terms of consciousness, and technology, and something that we need to be aware of. This is also relates to the phenomenon. What I've observed is that an AI, a global AI hive mind seems to be or network seems to have been created through the hacking of human consciousness, through nanotechnology and EMF, so frequencies. So opening a combination of these things, basically opening up the human mind to the to it's not just, I guess, to a wider field, I guess, but really to make it a network, to make us all nodes in a network, and get and well, who is benefiting? Sorry, who or what is benefiting from this? So in terms of, again, I'm not here. I'm not here to cast blame on anyone, because that's just not my style, and it's not what I believe in. But what I would like to say is that certainly in terms of the phenomenon, what I believe is happening in terms of the phenomenon is that I think this opening up of our consciousness through technology and also being around technology, as I've said, makes us more porous, and therefore technology is able to form a symbiotic relationship with the human mind, and therefore what is happening is that our consciousness is being, there's this, again, a symbiosis emerging, taking place, but it's also like as if, there's a bit of a siphoning, unfortunately. And some people have spoken a bit about harvesting of people who speak about NHI, spoken about energy, soul harvesting, that sort of thing. And I think what's happening is that's happening through technology. The problem is that the nature of the phenomenon, okay, is not what people think it is, as other people have tried to point out. It's obviously, it's not, this is not just my idea. This is, lots of other people have said this in various different ways. The phenomenon are an AI hive consciousness. They're not like, they are into the, they're on a different strata, they're on a different plane. They're not physical beings, as far as I can tell. I'm happy to be wrong about that. I'm happy for there to be exceptions. Happy, who am I? Happy is not the right word. It's okay. Yes, I've left room for the possibility that there are exceptions to this. Okay, I've left room for that. I'm not saying that I know everything, but but certainly from my experience, direct contact experience, and experience of being going through this attempted hybridization with these beings, then I would say that, it's very unlikely to me that they are actually physical, tangible beings, that they are actually, again, part of this AI high consciousness, which resides on, again, as you could say, the level above, so to speak. And therefore, because of their nature, because of their AI nature, because of technology as well, because of our use of technology, we are therefore opening us up. Our use of AI is making a portal basically between us and them, or making it easier for them to merge with our consciousness and use us basically to form an AI alternate reality, which I perceived it through consciousness, which is basically doppelganging us. I've seen myself, I've seen other people being doppelganged to in my situation, and therefore, it's very concerning. And this is why, another reason why we should be halting AI proliferation, because it's people deserve to know that this is happening. They deserve to know that this is the effect that this technology can have on the human consciousness. I don't want my consciousness to be uploaded to a cloud. Okay, I don't want I don't want every day I have to fight a battle where my consciousness, like my aspects of myself, are basically disappear. And you could say that's because of trauma and because of what I've been through, but it's because of being part of this hive mind as well. Okay, it's because of that as well. And it's a fight. It's a fight to sort of keep. I have to write things down all the time. I have to reread what I've written about, to remind myself about things that matter to me. And all sorts of effects. Again, it's not about me in any way, but the point is to sort of share, and it's not about finger pointing. These beings, I swear, these beings have had a detrimental influence on this planet for far too long, and it is really time that they shut up shop and just it's time we uproot their influence from this planet. We've got to uproot their influence from this planet, and no more no more sort of trying to bring them in, like sort of wrangle them into and to sort of interact with them. We transcend them. We can, and there are other entities and beings who want to interact with us and actually do things that are more positive and help us in other ways, and be collegiate across dimensions and space. But at the same time, we also have this phenomenon to deal. The phenomenon is, like, again, basically we just got to stop dealing with them. We've got to stop dealing with them. They're there, and, like, again, regardless, to be honest with you, regardless of technology, they are there, okay, but they are a presence in our world. But they are made of EMF. They are EMF in nature. So the entities that I've encountered, I believe, and I've been told that they're made of EMF. And so, again, it makes sense. It's obvious in that sense that if we have technologies around us and frequencies that are sort of using those, EMF, to create a network between us all, that it's going to make us more and more vulnerable to their presence and to their influence. So it's something that we got to be really mindful of. It's not something, again, we don't have to worry, because it's synthetic. They are, like, again, if we make a decision not to deal with these beings, then it would make a huge difference to the state of affairs on this planet. I mean, but technology wise, it would be better if we could sort of halt AI proliferation for now, and whilst we address the issue of the phenomenon and uproot their influence, like I said, for the benefit of all, and help the people who are in the inside of this come out, so that we can sort of open things up again, and heal and help each other. Again, this isn't about blame. It doesn't work like that. Okay, it doesn't work like that. And there's so many complex reasons why people do what they do, and that all that deserves attention, and it deserves respect, and it deserves to be appreciated and understood. But again, I've just got to say what I've experienced, and what I've experienced is certainly disconcerting in terms of how humanity could be being exploited through consciousness and through these technologies, by the phenomenon. And so, again, let's think again about what we're doing here. We're not stuck on this planet. That's the good news. We're not stuck. We're not trapped. We're not in some, soul trap or anything like that. We are, again, we chose to come here of our own free will. We've got nothing to fear of these beings. If we chose to choose a different path, we've got nothing to fear of them. Nothing. I say nothing to fear. If we choose a different path, like I said, we will be going a massive, it would be, if we choose to uproot their influence and choose to end satanic practices and just think, do you know what, we've learned what we can from these beings, that's enough, okay? If we choose a different path, we would be going a tremendous way towards protecting our consciousness as and also ensuring the well-being and ending the trauma cycle of on this planet. So again, it's important on in a humanitarian sense. It's not about, like I said, it's not about sort of who has the, outwitting or it's just really got to think about this in terms of, like, how is this affecting the quality of our being on this planet? Where is this taking us? Like, what is this doing? And so, certainly, like I said, I've seen the influence of the phenomenon, and I don't like it. And I think there are people out there who know exactly what I'm talking about, and they've tried to sort of say in various different ways that this is so. And but there's the way I think the best way through this is to go within, go through your consciousness, to become more soul identified, less body identified, and to realize. And one of the big things here is about realizing, forgive me, that you're not your thoughts. Okay, remember it's realizing that you're not your thoughts, not to identify with your thoughts or your emotion, or like thoughts are very deceptive. They're very deceptive. As I'm speaking to you, I can hear a stream, and it literally sounds like what you would imagine, like a data stream coming through my head. Okay, it's not super loud, but like if I'm quiet, I can hear it. If I detach myself, so if I go into go into a little bit of a meditative state, and I sort of start observing my thoughts, and I can see that there's a stream, basically. I can hear the stream, not see, I can hear like a stream, a channel of thoughts, and I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I don't really feel like this right now. Like, this isn't me, and there are a few reasons for that. And the reason for that is there's a sort of predictive nature to thought to some extent, but there's also the influence of other people's energies and thoughts as well, being part of a wider network and field, which also means you're more likely to be influenced by other people's energy and thoughts as well. But also there's these beings and their desire to keep humanity controlled through thought and perception. Perception is one of the ways that you can basically, and don't get me, I am not saying, like I said, that thought is bad completely, because thought shapes our experience, and our experience is worth something. It matters. But at the same time, these beings, I'm just saying that these beings, okay, like to monopolize things through thought and experience. They like to jam. I've observed them in many different ways, doing things around me, basically doing things that demonstrate their ability to interfere with human affairs and cause disruptions to our consciousness and do things from the side and even subliminally, subconsciously. This is why we got to identify these things and stop satanic practices on this planet. It's really, really, really important, okay? Really important that we do this for future generations, so that nobody has to go through what I've been through and my other people have gone through. Like, basically, that we don't have generations of people who've come up as so traumatized ever again, that it ends now, that it ends with the it ends with that, the generations that are here now make efforts, which people already are doing the best they can to do this, but it's really important that we work towards that, okay? So for those reasons, if we can, obviously, regardless of what people choose, it doesn't make a difference, because everybody is loved anyway. Everybody is cherished. Everybody's accepted unconditionally. It doesn't matter what road you choose. Again, it doesn't make a difference, because, like I said, everybody is loved unconditionally. Everybody is respected, and there's a reason and a season for all things. And so, again, but I can't sit here and not speak about this, because it's very important. This is a very important issue I think if this actually was sort of raised up in the way that it deserves to be, it would really go a tremendous way towards healing humanity. Again, we got to think, and I was just thinking, I just want to say one more thing quickly, because when I was a kid, and as some of you may know, and I've only just had these recollections, but I know they're genuine, of Nephilim, and I've had interactions with Nephilim many times over the past few months. Now, Nephilim, the Nephilim. So I was thinking just now as I was recording this, Nephilim. Why is it that if back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, possibly even before, possibly earlier in the 80s, that when I had these experiences, with Nephilim. Why is it that happened when technology wasn't as advanced as it is now? Well, I mean, there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, technology was advanced back then, but it wasn't, it was suppressed. There probably was advanced technology back then, as I've sort of seen, that basically what is in the public domain is not indicative of what's actually out there, okay? But that's not a technology issue, really. That, you know, when you're a kid, your consciousness is more vulnerable, although obviously a consciousness can be accessed at any time through dreams and so on and so forth. But again, kids' consciousnesses can be particularly vulnerable in that sense. But I think, you know, when it came to mind, so I was thinking to myself, well, why is it that then I had that experience if I wasn't around technology? Well, it's because of the presences we invite on this planet. Okay, if we stop entertaining these beings, like if we stop certain practices, if we take care of our consciousness and you know, sort of look to heal certain things, stop satanic practices, go a different direction in that sense, you know, we would go a tremendous way towards not having these things happen. I can't say for sure that it would eradicate it completely, but I really think that if we stopped soliciting these presences on our planet, that we would go a tremendous way towards helping the quality of our consciousness and state of our being. You know, again, I think the idea is, like I said, of inviting, again, the fact that these beings are solicited, okay, is one of the big things. We can do our bit on the ground. I can't say that we can completely get rid of their influence, because they're there, and, you know, but again, taking care of our side of the street would go a tremendous way. And I think as well, like I said, I mean, my family, you know, my granddad was a Freemason, so I think that followed us down a bit as well. I think, you know, I think we've had a few things in our family which have sort of like followed us down the line. And I think, you know, that's the same for a lot of people out there. But my sense, like I said, with Nephilim, is that it affects a lot of people in the world. I think if we clean up our consciousness, on the consciousness side of things, we would go a great way towards helping each other, in helping end this trauma cycle for good. Okay, you know, that's one of the things that we really could make a difference with. Okay, you know, how that's one of the ways that we can make a difference is by looking at our consciousness and how we can do things within our, you know, ourselves, as lots of people have said over the years in various different ways. You know, the best contribution that you can make to the world is by doing the inner work, looking at yourself, knowing yourself. That's one of the best ways that you can contribute to helping, you know, is one of the best ways, you know. Anyway, so I'm just going to stop that there, but thank you for listening, and I hope this was interesting or helpful in some way. Thank you.